hillside on the outskirts of Kingston. Kingston.
doesn't drop from your fingers so sticky it is. It's incredible. And so intense the aroma. You can smell in it the mountains. You can smell a little bit of resin from pine trees, a little bit. It's so complex. It's incredible.
One of the reasons that we're going to this place is this is one of the few places in the world where they make the hash from live plants.
Writing poetry, smoking good chars in the chillum, and having positive vibes and positive energy with the people and the animals and the plants around him.
The goal of all meditation is the same, and that's ultimately to achieve the ultimate truth, the ultimate reality behind the universe. consciousness is three different beings simultaneously. At one level, we exist as a human being, as a physical being. We're the body and the At another level, we exist as mind. And at the third level, the deepest level, we exist as spirit. Expand your consciousness to discover the realm of the mind.
Something beautiful happened in the Latino rap for his musical son. Cat needs saxophone player, and his name is Tito Ponte. And I always loved Tito Ponte's music. And he had me for a brief stint.
'cause I loved her and she didn't love back. The stars gone dim and the skies turned black, 'cause I loved her and she didn't.
I say you must be crazy if you think you can beat my time. Go ahead, try if you want to. Go ahead and make your plans. It's only fair that I warn you, girl. You don't stand a chance, 'cause my baby loves me and he shows me. Every time he holds me, you know I love my baby, and I'm gonna do anything that he wants me to. You told him I didn't love him and not to waste his time. Said you could take better care of him. Even gave him your number and a dime. Go ahead, try if you want to. Go ahead and make your plan. It's only fair that I warn you, girl. You don't stand a chance, 'cause my baby loves me and he shows me. Every time he holds me, I love my baby, and I'm gonna do anything that he wants me to.
Okay, let's check those crisp biscuits, which are slamming in style inside this week's Top 10 We Like This.
Welcome to the 1980s. Poetry. 80s music is often dismissed as a joke. All drum machines and big hair. But the 80s was a revolutionary time when so much of modern music first appeared.
What's up? Tell them where you're from. Straight out of Compton.
The decade launched genres like rap, hip-hop and modern dance music that now dominate. Electronica that still sounds like the future. And guitar-driven indie that sowed the seeds of grunge and Britpop. The 80s is modern pop's year zero.
The 80s was just incredible. It was as if the entire world was open to me.
You'd hear something and think, oh, that's Bananarama, that's Culture Club, that's Duran Duran. And everyone looked their own way as well.
There was some creative whirlwind that was just interconnecting like minds.
There was a joy in music in the 80s.
Over the next hour, I'm going to try to convince you that the 80s is the most influential decade in the history of pop.
I don't think really when we started that any of us ever had this vision of what we would be doing in 10 years. I mean, I still don't now. I don't think of what I will be doing in 10 years. I don't think many people do. I always hoped that we'd be able to keep going until we wanted to stop. But I didn't know if that would be like 10 days or 10 years.
Video is going to play a very large part on your next album. I know that some people say videos, well, all they are is a very powerful way of selling them. I don't suppose you see it quite like that.
I think they're a powerful way of enjoying yourself, actually. Technology can make you look better than you really are. And that's the same goes for recording. On my records, I don't use synthesizers, I use human beings on everything. The Ant sound is a very human sound. And I like to do the same in film, so if I have to jump through a window, I jump through a window, you know?
This is where we went next, Shepperton Studios, where I watched director Mike Mansfield working on the new Prince Charming video with choreographer Stephanie Gluck.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait a minute, I'm getting lost.
this makeup. It's quite complicated, and what we've done here is obviously very refined, but if someone wanted to copy it, it would be very easy, actually, because you can see on the side we have the kiss curl, which you could draw with, black eyebrow pencil. We have the beauty spots and the little red heart up here. Adam has his warrior stripes on the right-hand side.
And what do you use for that? Is that grease paint?
For that, yes, it's grease paint. You can go to theatrical supplies and supply stores and places like that. We've darkened the brows. I really like makeup on men myself. I think that it's very attractive.
3, 2, 1, and action.
Because he insists on doing his own stunts, doesn't he?
Oh yes, that was all Adam. I mean, I said to him, on this one, he's going to be jumping from a very high balcony and jumping right across the ballroom and bringing everybody to life.
And this is how the finished jump looked on the film.
The Human League, who last year with Don't You Want Me had the highest selling single in the UK. It sold over 1 million copies. No other record did that. Here they are now with Love Action.
When you're in love, you know you're in love, no matter what you try to do. You might as well resign yourself to what you're going through. If you're a hard man or if you're a child, it still might get to you. Don't kid yourself, you've seen it all before. 1,000,000 miles have said that too. I've had my hard times in the past. I've been a husband and a lover too. And the loved ones who let me down and couldn't share my point of view. But this is spell talking. I want to tell you what I found to be true. I love your love action. Love's just a distraction. No talking, just looking, watching your love action. I believe what the old man says, though I know that there's nothing on above. I believe in me, I believe in you, and you know I believe in love. I believe in truth, though I lie a lot. I feel the pain from the push and shove. No matter what you put me through, I'll still believe in love. And I say, I love your love action. Love's just a distraction. No talking, just looking, watching your love action.
Karen Stewart, hello? Hello, you're through to George and Andrew.
Hello.
Hello.
What were your hobbies when you were at school?
Hobbies when we were at school, mainly not being at school.
I was going to say not going. That took up a fair amount of our time. Hobbies.
What did you do when you got out of school? What was the first thing you did when you got home?
Well, we used to go up to the chip shop and get chicken and mushroom pie and chips usually, and then we'd sit there listening to Elvis Costello records because we thought we were terribly trendy at the time.
Great. Great, so really listening to records?
Yeah.
Fashion shows in London in the early 80s had DJs mixing Queen and Kraftwerk, Dvorak and George Clinton. They were taking their cue from the Blitz, the club where so much of the decade's style and attitude was born.
It was the bravery of young kids to look as outrageous as we did, you know, the Blitz kids as they got called. It was definitely a feeling of, it's our turn now, and we better do something about it that is extraordinary.
The 80s saw a revolution in club culture that is possibly the decade's most lasting musical legacy. In 1980, the Blitz in Covent Garden was attracting a new generation of young people who were dressing and creating personalities, personas, and their own individualistic worlds.
You are your own visual entertainment. You have to put a lot more into it than you do when you actually go specifically to be entertained. The entertainment there is just the people in the place, in the building.
Former punk wannabe Steve Strange would turn people away if they didn't meet his expectations.
It's about fashion, it's about looks. I mean, the men dress outrageous, the women dress outrageous. I say the men dress Edwardian, Kent, or wherever their look is. They've got to have a look to get through the door, the same with the women.
What was it like when you first went there?
It was a bit snooty. It was a bit snooty. And there were friends of mine I knew from the punk scene who stopped being on the punk scene. And they'd gone all new romantic. And the ultimate put down when they saw you was, Mark, what are you doing here?
I remember you saying that you were determined to be the band of that moment.
Yeah, always. You know, everyone was very competitive in the Blitz. You know, there was not much solidarity there. You know, I remember Boy George saying, I can sing better than your singer, and we'll form a band then, you know. And, you know, we went up and played in Birmingham, and this nice band called Duran Duran asked if they could support us. We said, of course not. But nobody supported us. We didn't believe in that, you know. We were the only people on the stage, you know. We wanted to be the only ones that anyone would talk about after they left. I think that bands at that time weren't going to sing about love so much. They were setting themselves on a sort of aspirational landscape that was outside normal reality. But it was definitely the culture that created us and Duran Duran and Culture Club, and bands that took street theatre seriously.
The Blitz kids took their sound onto MTV and into stadiums, and as the decade ticked-tocked to its halfway point, everybody went global.
Alone on a platform, the wind and the rain.
make a deliberate point of your homosexuality?
No, we don't make a deliberate point. The media makes a deliberate point. Our sexuality is the way that we are. The media picks something and makes something out of it. We don't. I mean, honestly, it's inevitable that it's going to crop up because that's the way that we are. And we don't sort of cover it up and we don't pretend that we're anything else. But it's the media that blows it up into something bigger. They make such a fuss about it. We don't make a fuss about it.
Is that true? I mean, on your LP, you put things like the age of consent and...
Yeah, that's just to show that how stupid it is that a government should dictate the age of consent, and why is it different in every country? I mean,
so it is an issue?
Yeah, I mean, it's a political issue,
We're just trying to illustrate how stupid it is.
I see.
This is the typical example of what we've come up against the media, you know, it's gay, gay, gay all the time. It's not we're saying that, you know, we want to make music, for God's sake.
But it's inevitable it's going to be in our music because it's about emotions.
Yeah, it's only...
But it can't be helped because we sing about things that emotionally sort of like move us, that emotionally stimulate us. Yeah. Everybody's entitled to do that. It just so happens that we're three gay men who are doing that.
The 1st of August 1981, when American cable channel MTV launched, with Video Killed the Radio Star. Everything about MTV was revolutionary. Even the playful postmodern collage of its branding. Pop was no longer just heard on the radio or sprinkled through TV schedules. For those who could receive it, music was something to be watched for up to 24 hours a day.
There are no programs to speak of on MTV, no shows with beginning, middle, and ends. It's just this never-ending barrage of music.
Previously, record companies had to bribe American radio stations, swapping huge amounts of cash for airplay. And now that money was flowing into music videos. MTV gave pop a form. Any form it liked, actually, manifesting itself right before our eyes. It paid for Hollywood directors to create mini blockbusters, as John Landis did for Michael Jackson, as well as hiring stylists to revamp the hoary old sounds of the 70s.
Before, hey, check out the weirdos, and now it's, hey, they're those weirdos that have been on television.
The video age gave visually savvy artists like Culture Club the opportunity to tease their sexual ambivalence, also seen in the videos of Eurythmics.
I didn't really want to present myself as a girl singer in a pretty dress, looking pretty and looking fairly sort of, how can I say, impotent in that situation, which I feel girls often are. There's a lot more to me than just that.
Artists were using videos to take charge of how they presented themselves, and they did this in very different ways. There were the proto-goth videos of Susie and the Banshees, The Mount Rushmore-like widescreen landscapes of U2. The Keystone Cop narratives of madness. And the urbane swagger of Spandau Ballet. It was no coincidence that many of MTV's early stars were from Britain. Since the late 70s, videos had been the way British artists got their music onto European TV.
We got the theatre of pop music, and I think the young bands as well. I said bands, and bands were so rare in America. But England had these gangs, these mini gangs of bands, and a gang, a tribe, that looks so much more exciting on MTV. You know, cut to the drummer, cut to the weird bass player, you know, the interaction between the guitarist and the singer.
With MTV, British groups had a direct line to a global audience, a great opportunity for a free-spirited gang like Bananarama.
We were very much allowed to get on with it. You know, we were very make your own clothes, buy stuff from markets. No stylists, as you can see, no stylists. I don't think there was any real control, and I think that probably goes for all the other groups as well.
Everybody that we went to clubs with seemed to be forming a band and making music, Sade, Culture Club, Spandau Ballet. I think also with the help of MTV, because that happened with our first single, that sort of transported us into everybody's, you know, living room.
I think it was actually having a hit in the States that made us realise, wow, this has gone sort of worldwide.
It was quite early on in our career. Cruel Summer was top 10 there. The next thing we knew, we were in New York, and for me, that probably stands out as the most mental, exciting time.
Bananarama grew up in the punk era and were purposefully self-sufficient, co-writing their own hits and taking full control over their career.
You weren't relentlessly copied. Record companies didn't come up with a Bananarama 2 or a Bananarama 3. Why do you think that was?
You can't just sort of put a band together and backcomb their hair and make them us.
Yes,
I mean,
people thought it was so easy and that we had no input, and that's the mistake. It came from us, and I think you can't just take, you know, a shop assistant and a hairdresser, and I think that's what they tried to do, take three ordinary girls, and it doesn't work.
Maybe we weren't as ordinary as they thought.
Obviously not.
In the UK, another producer was working out his own brand of dance music. When ABC wanted to approximate the modern club sound, they turned to Trevor Horn.
If I were to say to you, can you keep the secret?
He took the band's music apart and put it back together with machine precision.
ABC had spent a lot of their university time at a disco, particularly like Nile Rodgers' records, I think, you know, Chic. When they asked me, what can we do? And I said, the first thing that we can do is I can program the drum part into this drum machine, which I have here. It'll take me about 8 hours, and the bass part, and then we record them, and then you play on top of them, and then we take them away. It's like tracing.
Who broke my heart? You did.
Suddenly, at the beginning of the 80s, you could control everything. The group didn't need to play anymore. Because in a way, that was old-fashioned too. Even though they still did, sometimes.
All the technology, the new samplers, the effects that they had, you could not have made that music 3 years earlier. It's just such a marked difference. There's very few times in music where an era came along where you're like, that sounds nothing like the period before it.
There were instruction manuals for the equipment, but there was no instruction manual for how to use it. And everyone was working it out for themselves. We can do anything with sound.
You can do anything with sound?
Yes, we can do anything with sound.
We can do anything. We can do anything.
With sound. With sound.
Yes.
Horn was using the latest technology to change the way records were recorded and produced. There was the Lindrum that used real drum sounds. And then there was the digital sampler that could take any sound and map it across a keyboard.
I listen to like Relax and you think to yourself, were they up for like 7 days making this?
On his magnum opus, Frankie Goes to Hollywood's Relax, Horn used every weapon in his arsenal. And what an arsenal.
Relax, don't you rest when you wanna go to rest. Relax, don't you rest.
What did it mean as a work of art to you?
I guess that's the first time we really went all the way.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. I just didn't think Relax would be a hit unless we could do something really interesting with it.
When you wanna come.
I had a Linn drum machine, and I had that drum rhythm, dak dak, da dak dak dak, dak dak, dak 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 dak. I actually thought it was more like a Morris dancing, like a square dance. It hadn't occurred to me at the time that it was really good to dance to. I just thought it was a good groove. And of course, the 4 on the floor. It was the first time I ever heard anybody do 16s on the kick drum. You know, do 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 do. Where it goes do 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 do. And nowadays, you know, that's they call it the drop, the big wind up and then the drop. And, you know, most of the DJ shows are quite formulaic now. If you see them, there's massive screens, and then you know the drop's coming. Bam! Relax got a few drops in it. I suppose you could say Relax was a bit like a perfect storm.
The audio revolution didn't end in the recording studio. The launch of the compact disc in 1982 meant that pristine digital sound was available in your own home. And the impact of other technologies was even more profound.
1, 2, 3, sleep.
The cassette and the Walkman made music portable.
I had a yellow Sony Sports Walkman. It was so cool for some reason. It felt so cool.
There's now something you can actually have as a soundtrack to your walking.
Get in the lift, like go down and start to walk, and you hear like the first bars of Welcome to the Jungle. Like you never forget things like that.
And as you're walking past a shop window front with a bunch of TVs in the window, there are all your favourite pop stars being pumped into that shop via MTV. It was there, you know, and I think that access to music really made it the biggest thing in the world.
Alongside technology, an even more pronounced change was taking place. An unprecedented explosion in the types of music being made. Previously, one musical revolution had largely followed another. But the 80s is when pop went kaleidoscopic, with a wealth of unique musical styles, all running in parallel. Genres sprang up within genres. Heavy metal's big beasts noticed the ground was shifting.
Once Live Aid happened, I think all these bands we loved suddenly thought, oh my God, we're going to miss the boat. And they went really commercial, and we went off them. But after Live Aid, I think music got a bit boring. There's almost a little bit of a void, waiting for something to come along, and that turned out to be Acid House.
Born in Chicago, Acid House came to Britain via Ibiza. By 1988, it was making its presence felt, alongside its chemical accessory, ecstasy.
I was in Brighton, and behind the decks there was a couple of guys dressed like, just looked like lads from the estate. And they were playing this strange electronic music. I had no idea what it was. But it's kind of, I was interested. Acid house was bringing people together. People were taking ecstasy. And you'd bump into like a bloke in the club, and you'd look up and he'd be 6'3", like kind of football hooligan guy, and he'd just go, "Oh, sorry, mate, you all right?" And he'd go, "Yeah, yeah." "Oh, you look a bit hot, mate. Here, have some water. Or have some Lucasade," you know what I mean? And you go, "Oh, okay, I'll take it in case he bars me." And you know, but it was like, people became friendlier.
Enjoy this trip. Enjoy this trip. And it is a trip.
The velvet rope was lifted as club-goers swapped tiny dance floors for car parks and muddy fields. From exclusion, then, to inclusion.
Straight, white, cis males who would normally never have had a gay friend suddenly started hanging out with gay people and weren't bothered. And suddenly the West End was pretty much multiracial, whereas it was, if you went in the early 80s, it's pretty much white.
A dance record was now primarily a tool for a DJ, a conductor who was the main author of your experience.
Just started looping the Rolls Royce sample, such an amazing intro. I just wanted it to go on forever and ever and ever. I mean, the track itself by Rolls Royce is fantastic, but I wanted that to go on forever. The main thing that influenced me was hip-hop. And the way hip-hop producers would elongate a break beat, I wanted to do that with a disco beat, which was Rolls Royce.
DJs were using 80s technology like samplers to become a new kind of pop star, the dance music producer.
It was almost like a race to see who was going to make the first record. Was it going to be Jazzy B, Soul to Soul? Was it going to be Cold Cut?
Acid house inspired people to be creative who never in a million years would have realised that they were creative people.
Could you have been successful in any other decade?
No, I don't think that would have happened. I think I would have had to learn how to play an instrument competently.
Beautiful times, you know, and they were hopeful times, and the music was great.
Essentially, the 80s was all about innovation. It's when the charts were full of the most diverse, experimental music. Bold new genres that are still with us today. Just look at hip-hop, now one of the most ubiquitous sounds on the planet. And this is all a result of what happened back then, when everything was different, when everything was modern, and when everything was shiny and new.
frequency clear. All the animals come out at night. All the animals come out at night. All the animals come out at night.
I got cats, I got dogs, I got pot, I got acid, I got LSD cubes, I got this thing here. Don't tell me about hip. I am so hip, it hurts. That's how hip I am.
It's very unhip to say you're hip, Harold.
And it's very unhip of you to tell me that I am unhip. All right, come on in, everybody. Come in. Come in, it's open house. Come in. Come on.
success of Sunshine on a Rainy Day, Zoe's back in the charts at 37 with her hit single, Lightning.
Detroit's Keith Washington has one of the most soulful voices around. He's teamed up with the popstress herself, Kylie Minogue. If you were with me now, a new entry at 19.
I'd already had commercial success, but I wanted something that I could wake up in the morning and think, that's good, that's the best you could possibly do.
In 1981, Ultravox singer Midge Ure looked the epitome of new wave post-punk cool. But that hadn't always been the case, because James Ure, generally known as Midge, which is Jim phonetically backwards, had a history.
In the beginning.
5 years earlier, he'd been the frontman of Scottish pop rock boy band Slick. In 1976, they'd taken on the tartan mantle of the Bay City Rollers. This manufactured Scot pop was a million miles away from what Midge would eventually achieve with Vienna.
Basically, we had very little to do with it. And I got the phone call from the writers and producers, and he was telling me it was number one. I actually felt nothing. It was a kind of hollow success. I didn't get any sensation of achievement at all. And once you're tarred with that particular brush, it's very difficult to get away from it.
This was 1976, remember? So while Slick were being screamed at by their teenage fans, a musical revolution was taking place, led by the incendiary songs and attitude of the Sex Pistols. Midge decided a reinvention was in order, And after a failed attempt to reboot Slick as a punk band, he headed south.
I moved from Glasgow to London in '77 and joined up with Glenn Matlock, ex-Sex Pistol,
Okay, this is called Rich Kid.
and joined the Rich Kids. And was in the throng in the middle of the vibrant, buzzing, mad punk scene. Uberly exciting, but not overly satisfying musically.
But after one album and a single which only briefly troubled the top 30, a musically frustrated Midge made a fateful purchase.
I went and ruined it all by buying a synthesizer. I had this idea to integrate modern technology with traditional rock instrumentation, which immediately broke the band up. Half the band loved it and half the band absolutely loathed it. And of course, the half the band who loved it was the drummer, Rusty Egan, and myself.
Midge's synth enthusiasm was in tune with the fledgling new romantic scene, emerging from London's trendiest clubs at the time.
The architects of this curious, optimistic movement are Steve Strange and Rusty Egan, by running nights at London clubs like Billy's, Hell and the Blitz.
Rusty had ditched the drumsticks to become an influential DJ, spinning pioneering synth sounds from the likes of Kraftwerk. Now Midge had his synth, he was ready to move in the musical direction that would eventually lead to making Vienna. But that didn't happen straight away, after Midge's fellow ex-rich kid had a brainwave.
Rusty has a million ideas, and he would throw these ideas at you non-stop. Blah, 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 blah. And one day he said, wouldn't it be great getting a band together with all our favourite musicians? And that would be, the guys from Magazine and the guys from Ultravox, and, we make some electronic music. And I said, stop, let's do that.
The new band, with Rusty's mate from the club scene, Steve Strange, on vocals, were called Visage, and it would see Midge start to work with an accomplished musician who would eventually be pivotal in the creation of Vienna: violin, viola and keyboard player Billy Currie.
I did actually walk out of classical college when I was 19. Got a place at the Royal Academy, but I just threw all that away, and my aim was to make a mark and bring classical into rock, pop, electronic music.
Billy found himself at a loose end after his old band Ultravox had lost singer John Fox.
Rusty introduced me to Midge. The two of them talked to me about how would you fancy joining this group that we're putting together called Visage. And I said, oh yeah, it sounds pretty interesting. To further this movement that seems to be developing. People don't really want just a punk thing anymore.
Within weeks, Midge and Billy had written their first hit together.
Billy Currie used to jam a little idea, which he called Toot City. And it was just an instrumental. So I'd said to Billy, give me that track. And I took it home and I wrote the melody and the lyrics and turned it into Fade to Grey.
It was absolutely fantastic to be working with a singer who wrote music, working together,
The next suggestion from ideas man Rusty would prove crucial in the journey to Vienna.
He said, why don't you get Ultravox back together and with Midge as the singer?
If it hadn't been for Rusty, I would probably have never ended up joining Ultravox. I was a bit too shy to suggest that I was the guy. But yeah, it was the best moment of my life.
With Midge and Billy in the new Ultravox lineup were Canadian Warren Cann on drums and drum machines, and Londoner Chris Cross on bass and synthesizers.
I knew Ultravox was the band I wanted to be with from the moment we went into that rehearsal studio. It was just four people coming together in a brilliant way, in an incredibly creative environment.
And early in 1980, the quartet started work on Vienna.
And you listen to that song, that atmospheric intro, Every element that's in there is important. Warren had these little electronic drums that ran off batteries called Cinears, and they normally do that horrible disco do-do-do-do-do-do thing, you know. But he had created these sounds on these little Sin drums, this and the drum beat and the heartbeat to the do 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 do.
Freezing breath on a window pane, lying in wait.
Chris, just to my right, I can see it now, playing the high string note that sets an atmosphere.
A man in the dark in a picture frame, so mystic and soulful.
And I got this riff going, and I quite enjoyed it. Doom, 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 doom. Sort of rotating round and round.
Voice reaching out in a piercing cry.
We'll take a taxi to the show. We could report by phone. We could remind ourselves that we must love. Reconsider fame. I need new reasons. This detention is not fun at all. Remind me to smile you now. Be your friends lying it gets. So I feel like I'm in this code. Raw stage. verschlafen. Ich habe vergessen, den Wecker aufzustellen. Malitschka hat mich noch nicht gemacht.
Painted face is chipped and cracked. My mind seems to fade too fast. Clutching straws, sinking slow. Nothing lasts, nothing lasts. A puppet's motion controlled by a stranger I've never met. A nod of the head and a pull of a thread. I can't say no, can't say no. When a child goes down the door, where else do you want it be? Now won't you no longer see me?
Ja, was ist los? Lass mich. Noch einmal mache ich das nicht.
Looking round us now, almost concerned by what we see. Vaguely interested, ask, are we the only ones to realize our destiny? Save the world. We're going to change your world. Well, darling, I love you. Darling, I love you. We're going to save the world. We're going to change your world. What would I gain? What would I gain if I should make more money? Sell my brain. What do I see? What do I see? Will I become a slave to a machine?
Best of luck. To get through, she needs 5.9s.
She does.
Up tempo.
Great double axel.
Great double axel.
And fine finish.
Straight lines as Linda's forte.
Got out of bed with nowhere to go. As I comb my hair,
fine finish.
I didn't know what I would do today to pass the time. As I left the house, I left hope behind. As I hit the street, no sun greeted me. No smiles on the faces of the people I meet.
She keeps incredible balance.
Step inside. Plenty of time.
Some Americans in the crowd like that.
To make the line.
The crowd like that.
Life is a line. Take a number. Just one big line. That's all it is. Life is a line. Just take a number. Life is a line. That's all it is.
Fantasy.
You are my fantasy. Fantasy.
My fantasy. Fantasy.
You are my fantasy. Fantasy.
My fantasy. Fantasy.
They call me mannequin. You're looking real hard. You come back again. You come back again. They call me mannequin. I move it real slow. Back it up again. Like a mannequin. I'ma break. Get on top of this flow. I'ma break. Get on top of this flow. Watch me. Watch me. Watch me come to life. Pose, 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 pose. Watch me.
May I help you? We have vanilla. We have no other flavors, only vanilla. We have cones, no cups, no sodas, no sundaes, only cones.
drug. Now you know you're wrong. You hear it in future, zoom and spectrum, and we call it acid.
She loved and danced until she died and passed through with a smile. And then the wood lost all its darkness, so flowers grew around. A symphony of lights started by a maiden. A symphony of lights started
песок. В одной руке мороженое, в другой апельсиновый сок. Под мышкой резиновый круг, купленный у бабушки с рук. И плетеные слонцы, купленные у иностранца.
snow. For performance. Formatic. Formatic all-wheel drive. Now available for C-Class.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Because I need you more than anything. Because I need you to give me. Because I need you more than anything. Because I need you to give me. Thank you. Thank moi. Thank semaines. Thank jours. Thank heures. 5 minutes. 5 secondes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's all from us tonight. Apologies again for the technical problems which affected the start of the programme. Now on BBC One, it's time for the news where you are. Have a good night.
We snuck into the swimming pool. You dove head first. I waded in the scent of chlorine upon our skin. The stars were bright, the water clear. I felt your heat as you swam near. I held my breath, you held my hand, moving away, further from land. The moon was full and really blue. The water stilled, reflecting you, floating right here. Feel next to me, gazing at stars. You drift silently. Late at night, the air was cool. We snuck into the swimming pool. I went under, and you followed. Let's not think about tomorrow. Everything is perfect now. 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 You held my hand. Everything is perfect.
so short and that dress is so
I'm not referring to mind merely as one's cognitive.
This actually is simply one level of a cosmic system of some sort where birth and death are transitions from level to level. Things, intimations of immortality are vouchsafed by these plant hallucinogens. Why this should be, why it should be possible to get a look over the Great Divide, I have no idea. This actually is simply one level of a cosmic system of some sort where birth and death are transitions from level to level.
statue.